And so that's all I had that I wanted to share this morning. And we're very excited to have Jordan and Alex here with us this morning. I've had a chance to sit down with Jordan and Alex and talk to them ahead of time, get to know some about their stories. And so we're very honored that we're taking them away from their churches this morning to come be with us at our church, to come share their story. So if you all would like to come up here and get situated. Kind of exciting. They never clap for me when I get up here. Man, there's that one for you and that one for you. Is that going to be enough for you?
Yes, sir.
In the words of Ghostbusters, try not to cross the streams there. We'll all be safe. You finished playing football and you're doing gymnastics. So just to kind of get you all warmed up, why don't you share with the group a very important question. The very important question is, what is your favorite color?
I would go with an edgy blue because we're at Water's Edge, so edgy blue.
Man, off the cuff. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, wait, is this on?
It should be on.
Okay.
Let me see it.
Okay.
Nope, somebody turned it off. That was Brittany. She was trying to trick you. Oh, Brittany.
I think mine's just pink.
Pink?
Yeah, not an edgy
Not edgy pink? Just straight pink?
Pink.
Okay, that's very good. And do y'all have any pets you want to talk about real quick?
I don't have a pet, but me and my girlfriend Erin, actually Buxman's, would you raise your hands really quick? They were on a cruise, and they let us borrow their dog for a week, and it was an awesome dog. Well, really good dog. His name was Maya, and it was really well behaved. So that's the only pet I have right now, but we had to give him back, unfortunately.
You did?
But my girlfriend actually painted Maya's nails. She was really excited about that.
Wow! You could maybe start your own grooming business and paint dog toenails, and you've already got a customer. Right? Okay, good. Very good. Any pets you want to talk about?
I actually got my first pet for Christmas. My mom surprised me one morning at like 7 o'clock in the morning. She drove from Kansas City, and I was still asleep, and my roommate heard the door, and I heard the door, I just didn't get up. And so my roommate actually opened the door, and I woke up, and my mom had a puppy in her hand. She was like, "Oh, Merry Christmas."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh my gosh."
You got a puppy.
Yeah. So, and his name's Gunner.
Gunner? And what is Gunner?
A Wheaten Terrier.
A what?
Soft-coated
A Wheaten?
Wheaten Terrier.
Wheaten Terrier.
Yeah.
Does everybody know what a Wheaten Terrier is? Okay, everybody here's more educated than I am. That's fantastic. Very good.
Yeah.
We have a dog named Sophie, and she's a Cocker Spaniel, and she got groomed last week. So, yeah, and my favorite color is red. So now that we have this very intimate relationship, not edgy red, just plain red. I'm sorry to let you down there, but now let me ask you all a question. So you played football and you did gymnastics. So how old were you when you kind of figured out that you were excelling in your sport, and how did you figure it out?
I don't know if I was excelling ever in sports, but I knew when I was serious about sports was probably when I was maybe the Buxman's kids age, maybe, and I was kind of younger, and I was playing sports, and I noticed like some of my friends would be out in like left field, playing with the grass and stuff, and when my team would be losing, I'd be really upset, and so I was getting really serious. Like I guess I could just feel those competitive urges when I was your guys' age. Just knowing like, hey, I care a lot about sports, and if we lose, like I'm mad. I'm not going to talk to anybody for the whole day, So I guess maybe that's when I figured out I was excelling, I guess.
Right, because you had attitude.
Attitude, that's right. That's right.
Good. Well, there you go. You need attitude to play sports.
That's right.
Okay. What about you?
I think I had 2 times. Again, like I think excelling. I don't know if that's like the word, but actually, it's kind of cool because your wife was my first coach.
Yes, she was. We should mention that. She owes everything to my wife, who was her coach when she was younger. She's at a gymnastics meet this morning herself because she's still a coach. But was she your first coach?
Very first coach.
Very first coach. Okay.
Yeah. When I was actually in just like a rec class, just like a little preschool class, she begged my mom to put me in classes, and so finally my mom gave in, and I got to join like the level 3 team. I think is what I started.
Wow.
Level 3 or 4, yeah. And so that was like the first time, and then the second time was level 7. I was in St. Joe, and my coach told me and my mom that she thought that she couldn't coach me past the level that I was at, and so I needed somebody that could continue my sport. So we ended up driving 2 hours every day to Grain Valley so that I could get more training from a different coach.
So you were moving along that quickly.
I guess so.
Good. Hey, if my wife tapped out and said, you're beyond me, then you must have been moving along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So at least that's what I'm going to tell her anyways.
It was all for her.
Okay, so when you all started football, when you started gymnastics, what did you really love about it? What did you enjoy about it?
I would say something that attracted me to football, at least, was just like the team component of it. If you look at football more than any other sport in America, at least I believe, it's the most team sport you can get. I mean, you have 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense that you have to rely on to get something done. And nothing against gymnastics for all the gymnasts out there, because that's a great sport too. But
because they will take you out.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Like you think you can take pain, like a gymnast knows pain.
I can't. I remember Kalen Trevino, we were at a Athletes in Action conference in Ohio that Nathan hooked us up with, and we were doing like this ab workout, and I couldn't believe the gym, like I couldn't handle it at all. So their core strength is phenomenal, and mine is not. So
it's good for you to confess that.
Yeah.
You don't want them waiting out in the parking lot for
right.
you.
Yeah.
We'll be out there.
So,
that's right.
Yeah. What? I don't even remember the question.
Well, sorry, I distracted you. What do you
I was thinking about that workout. It was so hard.
You were talking about
okay, what do I love about football?
Team was great.
Yeah, I guess just too like the character that you build through sports. I guess any sport for that matter, but football especially, just the ups and downs of it and relying on other people. You learn a lot. So any parents out there that are thinking, should I put my kid in football? Like, if you're willing to put him in a car that drives 70 miles per hour down the road, don't worry about him getting injured in football because you got pads and stuff. It's just as much of a risk to put him on the road, let him drive when they're 16. So put him in sports, you learn a lot about character, and at least that's what I've gotten from it.
Good. What about you? What do you love about what did you love about gymnastics when you first got started?
I think when I first got started, it was just like having that time that I could just let out some energy when I was that young. I was always climbing on like everything, the treadmill, and climbing the cabinets and everything. So my mom put me in gymnastics just to release some energy. So I think
stop breaking things at home, right?
Yeah, exactly, and swinging on things, and so I think that was the start of it. And then once I started getting more serious about it, it was like the family aspect and just like having that small group of girls that shared the same passion as you, and and like. Gymnastics isn't an easy sport. There's always something to work on. There's always a challenge, and I think I fell in love with like the challenge of it. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yeah.
Challenging in family, that family relationship that you have with the girl.
Yeah.
So we're going to take this up to high school, the time on it, okay? So let's say your senior year. So we're looking at all your athletic moments, all the football games, all the meets, stuff like that. What are maybe one or two highlights that you remember up to that point? What were, the best game or the best meet, or, what was it what is it that you're going to tell your grandkids about, that game or that meet?
I remember it was my senior year. We were losing by 4, and we were at like our own 40-yard line, and there was 5 seconds left, and I got the ball, was running around, just heaved it in the end zone, and we caught it, and we won. It was awesome. It was crazy. And then, so that was awesome. But then I remember the next morning, my parents were like working on the gardening or something, and they're like, Alex, come help me do the chores. And I was just like, I just remember how humbled I was, like, oh, I'm the big varsity quarterback, and I threw the touchdown. But then it just kind of, I guess that's what I tell my grandkids maybe, is like, you should stay disciplined no matter how good at football you get, I guess. So that's the story that just came to my mind as you asked that.
So. I like it. No, that works. And I like the next part too. Because at the Water's Edge Church, we have a value of humility here. So there's humility. And so that was a great story of what not to do when you're humble.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. What about you? What's your favorite?
I think mine was, just like making internationals, just like all the bigger competitions. I don't know if I have like a specific one that I remember, but just all the, you have to go through state and then regionals and nationals and just like that.
Climb
ladder.
Yeah.
And then, at the very end of the competition, you're just like, oh, I made it. Like, that's like the highlight. When the season's like over. But every season there's like a different highlight. But it's, yeah.
I think gymnastics too is a little bit, it's so individualized that it's every time you step on the mat, it's you.
Yeah.
And I think with football, you can kind of walk away and go, well, it's kind of a team thing, and we lost because of team. But with gymnastics, at the end of the day, you're kind of responsible for your wins and your losses. Do you ever have were perfect scores very common? Perfect score is
know.
not very common. For you know?
No, I mean, more so in college than club. I didn't see
Gotcha.
really a lot of perfect scores in club, but college they throw a few out there sometimes.
Gotcha. Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's kind of moving into the big question. What is kind of your life story and faith story up till high school? And I'm sure sports kind of intersects with that, but kind of your life faith story up till high school.
I was raised in an awesome home, two parents that just, and a sister, she's in college as well, and that just totally raised us really well. And I was always provided with every Christian resource that I could ever want. I was at all the Christian sports camps and went to all the cool stuff that you'd want to go to as a young Christian kid. It was all the youth groups and everything. And so I remember when I was in like 4th grade, probably, I was at a Christian camp in Wisconsin called Phantom Ranch Bible Camp. I'm not even sure if it's around anymore, but it was a really cool camp. And we were doing like our daily devotionals at night with our counselors and their college counselors at the time. And we had to like give our testimonies. And I remember when it was my turn, I was like, well, I don't really have a testimony, because everyone else had shared, like their dad had passed away or something really bad had happened in their life. And I was like, I don't really have one. He's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you've always kind of been blessed to have an awesome Christian environment that I've been raised in. And he's like, hold on. He's like, that is a testimony. He's like, that's a testament to, to your faith and how you've been raised. He's like, for me, I wasn't raised in a home like that. My parents were divorced and they left. And he's like, you saying that is a testament for me and for the future that I can have a family that I can raise in a mature way. I just remember thinking like, man, I never thought I would impact a counselor or anything. Maybe I didn't. Maybe he was just saying that. But I just remember that, so that was kind of my upbringing. And so at times I've been like, man, my testimony doesn't matter. But that's kind of been my story, is just I struggle every day, I mess up every day, but just been able to have been around a lot of great mentors, and my family has brought me up in an awesome way, and just been trying to live it out through college.
And did you participate in church or youth activities or stuff going through high school?
Yep.
Or
Just pretty much since I was young, just Vacation Bible School, then middle school youth group, high school. Kanakuk is a big influence in my life.
And you started going there how early?
I actually didn't go there till I was in college being a counselor, but I went to
okay.
different camps though. We didn't know about Kanakuk. For you guys that don't know, that's like a Christian sports camp in Branson, Missouri. It's a really good camp. But just different things throughout the years, and been really blessed by that.
Okay. And you played football through high school?
Yeah, I played all sports pretty much up until high school, and then I started deciding that I think football is the one I wanted to pursue.
Gotcha.
So.
And how soon did you start playing varsity football?
Sophomore or junior year I started. Played a little bit before that, but.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Very good. Jordan?
I was also raised in like a really good family. Definitely, we went to church every Sunday. I went to a lot of Bible vacation camps.
Did all that
Bible
stuff?
camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess through high school, I kind of went through a few things with my family that made my faith just a little bit more shaky, and but I think I grew from that. Definitely now, my freshman year in college, not so much. Actually, all through high school, I wasn't going to church. Just like with everything going on, life and gymnastics.
Well, yeah, and with gymnastics, it was like my wife who's away this morning, and she's a coach.
Right.
So with gymnastics, it's very possible that
Yeah.
you get into that rut of not going, and then to kind of get back into it sometimes it's a difficult hurdle for families to overcome.
It was definitely that excuse that I would use every weekend not to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of tough. But there was a lot of family issues, and my parents divorced in high school, and that was really hard. And I was dealing with an injury in gymnastics. It was also really hard. And I started asking myself, kind of like, why is this happening to me? Like, why me? Like, why would you do this? Like, why would you let this happen? So, yeah, my faith was definitely...
You had mentioned that there were like 3 or 4 things that all happened your senior year that were kind of snowballing.
Right. It was like senior year.
Senior year time?
My parents had divorced, which was really tough. And then I broke my leg and was dealing with an injury.
Yes.
My coach that I actually moved to, that my former coach told me to go to, was accused with sexual assault to one of my teammates. So that gym was shut down. So and
Just
it was,
closed
it was just, yeah, it was
Yeah.
like that part of my life, I just felt like it was just like a downward spiral.
Right.
And so, and I wasn't going to church to,
Right.
help
There
or
wasn't that faith
anything.
component.
There was nothing. So I think I was trying to figure it out like all on my own, and I didn't think about.
You'd also
right
shared
way.
that there was you were on your way competitively to something that was pretty big,
Right.
and then ended up not being able to do that. What was that called again?
Elite.
Elite. Okay,
Right.
so you had been working up towards this elite tournament. I mean, and what is elite? Tell everybody what elite is for most.
Well, there's kind of like
You're going there because you're going someplace. You think you're going someplace else.
right.
So
There's
explain that
kind
to
of like
folks.
two paths. You can take like the college route, or you can take like the elite route. And the elite is just like so many hours, and it's your life. Like it's a lifestyle, and you're working toward like the national team, and like if you're that good, the Olympics one day. Like it's a totally different route than college. And then college is just, you get to still experience the college life, and it's easier. But I was definitely working toward elite, and that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
But that was obviously not the plan. So
Right. And so, and when you broke your leg, how far out were you from that elite competition?
3 days.
3
And I was
days
gonna go
out.
test. Yeah,
Okay.
3 days.
So you knew you weren't.
Yeah.
It was a
I know.
bad enough break that there was no question of, are you going
Right.
to do this or not? Okay. So by not making elite, that kind of shut some doors.
Yes.
Initially for you.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So both of you here became. So your story ends with high school, kind of like, okay, I've worked really hard. I thought I was on my way to the next level, and then you miss elite, and so that kind of shut the door on things. So how did you all end up becoming college athletes? Like what did that look like?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to play college football for a long time, and I think it's a total God thing that ended up at Mizzou. I met the backup quarterback at Mizzou, Jimmy Costello. If anyone remembers, if anyone's a Mizzou football fan, awesome guy. I met him at a FCA conference, FCA camp, like the spring before I was going to come to Mizzou, and I met him. I was like, yeah, I'm just looking to walk on a big school, and he's like, well, both the Gabbert brothers just, one went going in the NFL, and Tyler Gabbert just transferred, so we have like no quarterbacks. If you'd want to walk on, this would be a great time. And so everything was just so last minute, and I had no clue, and it was a total God thing that I ended up at Mizzou. But so it's been an awesome experience.
Because you weren't recruited.
No, I wasn't recruited. I walked on at Mizzou. So yeah, so for you guys that don't know, there's scholarship football players and then walk on. So I was a walk on. So I was just happy to be on the team. It was an awesome experience, and so it was totally a God thing that I was at Mizzou, and just how last minute it all happened. I couldn't have planned that. So it's been a total blessing to be here.
You met the right person at the right time.
That's right. I tell people I networked my way into college football, but
Remember that, kids?
Yeah, it was
networking.
It was God's plan for sure. So
Good. Very good. And so, Jordan, how does your story end up that you moved from missing that elite opportunity to becoming a college level gymnast?
So after high school, I actually quit gymnastics for that summer. I just kind of told myself I was done. There was more out there. And so I was done that summer, and I got a call from Iowa. Larissa Libby is the head coach up there, and she called me and said that she had seen me at nationals and was wondering if I was still in the gym and if I was interested. And at first I was like, no, like I haven't been in the gym, and I don't know if that's what I want to do anymore. And so she told me that just like let me know like what you decide, and we can keep in touch. So I talked to a lot of my friends and family, and they just kind of told me like, hey, like this is an open door, like this is your escape from home, like this is a new life and a new start. And so
because of the divorce, things were kind of difficult.
Everything, yeah, just everything at
life was
home.
difficult.
And so and they were like, this is like what you've loved to do since you were little, and don't just give up on it because things are hard. And so I was like, okay, like you're right, this is my way out. So I ended up taking it, and I got a 1-year scholarship up there, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Loved the coach, loved the girls. But in the end, I was still working for a scholarship for that next year, and I wasn't offered another scholarship due to a lot of other things. But so then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go back home and, see how it goes from there. So then I wasn't training again. I was just living out the summer. And my club coach called me, and she was like, hey, Mizzou's coming in, and you need to get your butt back in the gym. And,
Right.
because there's more out there for you, and I don't think you're done yet. So again, I started training again, and the head coach ended up coming up there and looking at me and offered me a walk-on spot. So it wasn't a scholarship, but it was another escape. It was another, opportunity to just, and I only have a couple more years, and I'm not going to be able to do gymnastics anymore.
Right.
So I might as well take advantage of it. So I ended up taking it as a walk-on, and it's been great.
Now there's a little bit of a funny twist though, because wasn't there something with the coach that offered it to you?
Yes, Rob was.
Yes.
I think it was Rob.
So this guy comes and he's like, I've got a spot for you, and then what happens?
And he was fired or something
Yeah.
happened, and I was like, my dad saw it like in the newspaper or something.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Right.
So
He
yeah,
just
then
offered me a
Shannon
spot.
came. Yeah. So yeah, it was.
And you
crazy.
ended up going and doing the trainings, and they
Oh yeah, I went down to a camp.
saw
down
your
here.
ability and said, yeah, we still want you to
Yes,
come.
the
even
second
though-
time. The second time,
Right.
not the first time.
The second time.
The first time when I came up to the camp, Shannon said no. I just didn't think my head was in the right place.
Oh, gotcha.
Second time, he
Gotcha.
came to recruit me at my own gym. He was like, okay, yeah, we'll take you.
Gotcha. Because faith-wise, that first year at Iowa, you were still kind of struggling and not, you'd been out of church a long time, and that cycle just continued with your faith, and it was just, that part wasn't happening.
Right.
Right.
No.
Okay. So to get to that, within college athletics, within your college sporting career, what have kind of been your highs and lows?
I'll start.
Did you go bye-bye?
Hello.
There you are.
I'll start with my low. So I guess a year and a half, 2 years ago, because just to remind you, I'm a walk-on, so not scholarship. So walk-on's kind of how it works for football. Is like every year you kind of come back in, have a meeting, and there's like, all right, good to have you back from the summer. Let's get going. And so I come back. I'd worked at Kanakuk camps that whole summer. Kind of serving out there, and it was a blast. And I come back the first day of school, and they're like, hey, we need to talk to you. Because usually it's just like, hey, welcome back, you're good to go.
The coaches?
Yeah, coaches. We need to talk to you. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. And he's like, Alex, we've loved having you, but we have too many scholarship quarterbacks right now. We don't have any room for walk-ons. And, I mean, that's a legit thing. Like, that happens at a lot of programs where they'll over-recruit guys, and it's just a numbers game. And so I was like, oh, wow. And he's like, but, we've loved having you here, and we'd love for you to stay on as an assistant coach this year. And at that point, I was just like, oh, man, it was really hard, because football had kind of become like my identity or an idol in my life that I was putting first. And for him to say, we don't have room for you anymore, it was almost in that moment I knew like this had to be a God thing, because how else could it be explained that I'd been on the team for 2.5, 3 years, and they're just like, well, we don't got room for you. And so that was really tough. And so just a quick little story of that. So I stayed on this last 2 years ago as an assistant coach, and that was a very, very humbling process for me. It's kind of like getting cut from the team. And so
Did you almost say no, or did you know that you were going to do it?
I think I want to go into coaching, and so I said, what, this is. Okay. I feel like God's telling me to stay, and I guess a little backtrack too. I actually met with Nathan Buxman, who's here this morning, that spring before this happened, and because I'd kind of been praying, like, God, should I stay at Mizzou? Is this the right place? That was Jesus calling right there. And I'd been praying, like, God, should I stay at Mizzou? And Nathan was talked to me a lot about it. And after just about a month of praying and talking to wise counsel and doing pros and cons list, I felt like, I'm going to stay at Mizzou. And so I decided to stay. And then I find out I'm getting cut from the team. So I'm like, God, what are you doing? What is this? And a quick little story from just my time being an assistant coach in the team. I usually, when I speak at places, I bring this little flag, like, how in a football game they'll throw a flag if there's a penalty. My role for a few weeks there on the football team was throwing the flag. So like my coach was like, all right, Alex, here's what you're going to do. You're going to be on the sideline, and if they jump off sides, throw the flag, and then go pick it up and do it again the next time. And I was just like, here I am, like a competitor. All my friends are out here competing, and he wants me to sit on the sideline and throw a flag. And it was so humbling. And it was one of the hardest things I've gone through probably to this point in my life. And I guess this is a low, but it's also a high, to answer your question, because through this tough time, I think God humbled me in so many different ways, like took away that identity the identity problem I had, took away that idol in my life, and said, like, are you really here to worship me or to worship football? And I had to really, examine my own heart and say, what am I here for? And so the conversation, just me staying on the team and guys who, a cool story. A guy who was not a Christian on the team, and there's a lot of stories like this, but this is one of them. A guy that was not a Christian, he came up to me and said, "Alex, I just want to let you know, I've been praying for you." And I was just like, so taken away by that. Like, the guy's not even a Christian, but yeah, he's going to come up to me and say, "Thank you for staying on the team and not quitting, and being here. That means a lot to me." And I was just like, wow, that means a lot. And so there's a lot of cool situations that came from that really tough time for me, and really humbled me and took away that idol in my life.
So did you find out he was a faith person, or had he become a faith person, or he was more of a faith person than, what's the behind the scenes on that?
Yeah, through, we definitely met pretty often and stuff, and he actually, just through some tragic situations, had to leave school and stuff, but we keep in touch and stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, there's a lot of stories like that of just guys who are like, "Hey, thanks for not quitting even though you got cut," or "Thanks for sticking with it," and just that's kind of been a cool thing.
And had you quit, had you said no, you wouldn't have those opportunities to, to share faith and encourage others.
Right, and then through that, so I was a coach my junior year. And I think it was probably a gift from God. Then I got back on the team this last year and played my senior year. So it was kind of a full circle thing. Like, I think God kind of tested me. Like, hey, what are you really worshiping right now? Are you worshiping me or football? What do you really want?
Right.
And so, yeah, that was a high and a low.
Very good, Jordan. What do you think your highs and lows are?
Okay, so I think I already explained pretty much my low, but the low that I'm going through right now is I'm actually facing injury right now.
Right.
And it's caused me to be out all season. I haven't gotten to compete. So that's kind of crazy that you said that, like, it's humbling, because that's exactly what I'm going through. I came in to Mizzou thinking, like, I'm going to be the best. Like, I'm going to be on every event, and I'm going to rock it this year. And again, like I said, I wasn't going to church, and I wasn't praising him for what I was doing. It was all about me and what I was going to do.
And you had left Iowa and you had come to MU.
Yes.
And you were still in that same rut. You started the gymnastics team.
Right. And so first practice competition, I was injured, and so immediately I was humbled. And it's taken a lot. It's taken all season to just like step back and like play a different role this season. And again, I was asking why. Like, why is this happening to me? Why would you let this happen? And so, now I asked that. At first, I was just angry.
Right.
But it's definitely humbled me, and gymnastics was my idol. It was all, I lived for. It was school and gymnastics, that was it. And so taking a step back and, like, analyzing my heart and, like, where my values are and my priorities has been crazy, but, like, so eye-opening.
And can I jump you to you were talking about your friends, about the role some of your other gymnastics friends played in your faith. Can you kind of share a little bit about that?
Yeah, actually, Caitlin was one of the girls that took me in immediately.
Point her out.
Yeah, she's right there. I think, weren't we like sitting at lunch or something one day, and we were talking about faith or something, and she realized I was like asking a lot of questions, and I didn't even realize I was asking a lot of questions, but I guess I was. And so you might have texted me or called me, or we had a conversation or something, and she was like, hey, like, I noticed that you were asking a lot of questions, and like, if you have questions, like, I'm here to answer them for you. And so we just like started talking more, and I told her like what I was going through and what I had been through, and she like completely opened my eyes to a totally different way to look at it. Like all the hardships where I was mad and angry and didn't understand like what was going on, like she made me realize like those were blessings in disguise. And like
the God was actually maybe working
in my life and not like
he hadn't abandoned you or left you or cursed you.
Right. And and she made me realize like I'm not the only one that only person that their parents divorce and and like go through things like, and I felt like it was all me, and it was definitely all about me, and she helped me realize that like it was blessings in disguise completely. And just it was amazing how much she individually touched my life, but every single one of those girls over there has like had an impact on my faith. And honestly, like they're the reason I'm sitting here right now talking about it, because I wouldn't be if I wouldn't have met them. And so honestly, the whole road, the whole quitting and going to Iowa and all the transferring and all the stuff I had to go through, it was completely worth it. And it was definitely laid out and written out. So
gotcha.
And it was definitely just to get here and
And so because of those friends, you experienced some faith renewal that you hadn't had in years and years.
Right.
And you begin going to church again and doing other. You were actually right across. You live right across the street from the crossing.
Yes.
Right. And so that was pretty convenient that you were able to just head across the street, and you had a large group of friends that were there and were ready to encourage you and to grow you and build you in the faith, and you just keep taking steps into that.
Yeah.
Very
Everything
good.
just fell right into place. It was crazy.
Very good.
One day it was just like, I figured out why, everything had happened and why I went through everything, and it was definitely so I could be here. So.
Well, and I think that's what was really encouraging about listening to you and to your story is that you can see now how God's work. Where once upon a time you would look at this injury and these things and say, "Why God? Why God?" You're looking at these things now and you're saying, "What do you have for me, God? Out of this difficulty, what doors are you going to open for me?" So I thought that was really awesome when we were talking that you realized
that's what
that.
I've learned is, what are you trying to reveal to me, and stop asking why.
Right.
Right. And like I said, I told you, it's like I'm anxious now to like see what he's working on. Something goes wrong, I'm like, okay, well, what are you trying to say to me? Now,
Right.
Okay, why are you doing this to me? Like,
Yep.
But now it's like, okay, something is about to happen, and whether it's good or
You've
bad,
got
it's
my
going to get
attention.
me somewhere. Yeah. Okay, I know this is you. Like.
Good.
So.
Very good. Well, I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna skip on ahead. I'll just get kind of to our last question here. So we've got I see lots of children in here and younger folks, and probably parents of children who are athletes, and both of you were very driven at young ages, and you put in lots of hours all the way to Kansas City, back and forth. So what advice do you want to give to our young athletes this morning as they're looking ahead to future stuff?
Nice. That's a loaded question, but
Yeah.
I would say for you guys that are athletes right now, find role models in your life that you can look to that you want to be like. That was really big for me, looking different people in my life, or even just athletes, people that I look up to. That's number one. I think is a huge thing. I think the people you're around and you hang out with influence a lot of, decisions that you'll make. And so you finding good friend groups, like look at all the gymnasts that are in the room, like they're all great friends. Like that's awesome. And they can encourage each other. So if you're at school and your friends are not doing the right things, find new friends. Those are two big things I can think of. And then start setting goals. People say that if you write down a goal, you're like 88% more likely to do that goal if you just write it down and you kind of write it into action. So I would say those are three big things I can think of right off the top of my head that you guys should really start doing, and be bold. Look at a guy like Tim Tebow, who's impacting the whole country just because he's being bold for the gospel. So be bold on what you're doing.
Yeah, I have to agree. And just like when things get hard, just don't give up. There's purpose and there's reason why you're going through something. And it might be hard to understand at that time, but there is reason, and he does have a plan. And you just have to remember that, whether it's sports or friends or family, everything is going to work out in the end. You just have to keep strong faith. And it's hard sometimes, but it's so worth it in the end. So.
Very good. Well, let's give these two a hand. Appreciate your time this morning. Jordan and Alex have actually agreed to be with us in the back. We like to pray for folks after service. And so if you're a young athlete, if you're an athlete, if you'd just like a blessing today, Jordan and Alex will be back there, and they'll be more than happy to offer that blessing over you. I will also be back there with a couple other folks from our church. And so if today you were listening to this and you're an adult, and it kind of hit you in a certain place, and you know that you need some prayer today to get over whatever it is that's in your life right now, there'll be some other gals back there as well that would love to pray for you. And so here in just a minute, we're going to share communion together. And in our church, communion is available to everyone whose hearts is open to Christ and to what God is doing in your lives. And you'll just take a piece of that bread and you'll dip it into the cup and place it in your mouth. And that communion is meant to be a blessing to you today. It's to be an opportunity to remember that Christ is in fact with us through good times and through difficult times. He's with us in all times. And so this morning you have an opportunity to receive that sacrament. You have an opportunity to be in the back and to receive prayer. If you're a younger person, or if you're older and you'd like prayer for something else, you're welcome to do that. And so let's bow our heads and pray as we get ready to enter into a time of ministry. Heavenly Father, I thank you for this morning, and I thank you for Jordan and for Alex. And Lord, you in your own way brought them to us. It's just really interesting, the relationships that are within our church that had folks, when we first started talking about it, said, hey, we need to talk to Alex, we need to talk to Jordan. And both of them said yes. And both of them are here this morning and are sharing stories of encouragement. And so I want to pray for Jordan and for Alex that you would continue to grow them in their faith walk, that you would continue to lay their steps ahead of them, that they would have courage to follow in the path that you have for them. And Lord, I would ask the same prayer for all of us here who are struggling with something difficult, who have hit a hard place and are asking ourselves, why, God, why am I in this place? And it's because you, Lord, have a way for us, a path for us. So give us faith, give us courage, give us strength to walk in that path. I pray for all my young athletes today that are here and have a dream. Lord, foster their dream. Pour passion upon that dream and give them courage to stand for you. And Heavenly Father, we bless this bread and we bless this cup, that it will be for us, your presence with us today. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.